Let us look at hydrogen peroxide, preparation of hydrogen peroxide, uses of hydrogen peroxide, other peroxides and their uses. This is inorganic pharmaceutical chemistry. Our learning objectives are: number 1, to have an overview of inorganic peroxides. Number 2, to define peroxides and list the examples. Number 3, to investigate the production and synthesis of hydrogen peroxide. Number 4, to assess the applications of hydrogen peroxide. And number 5, to look at other miscellaneous peroxo compounds. And last but not least, to look at sample questions. Introduction to peroxides. Peroxides are compounds containing an oxygen-oxygen single bond. They contain a peroxide ion whose formula is O2 negative. Types of peroxides include inorganic peroxides. Under that, we have hydrogen peroxide. We also have metal peroxides, an example being barium peroxide. Then we have organic peroxides. An example there is benzoyl peroxide, which is used in acne treatment. Metal peroxides. They have a peroxide group in their structure, which is O2 negative. For example, sodium peroxide. Peroxide salts yield hydrogen peroxide on acidification. For example, sodium peroxide plus HCl, which is hydrochloric acid, gives you hydrogen peroxide plus sodium chloride. Sodium peroxide can be prepared through controlled oxidation of sodium metal. Remember, you actually get different products depending on the amount of oxygen, whether it is excess or limited. So in this case, you have to control the environment. The temperature should be between 130 to 200 degrees Celsius, and the environment should be oxygen rich. And for the alkaline earth metals, their peroxides can be prepared by heating the metal oxide in air. For example, if you want to prepare barium peroxide, you use barium oxide and you heat it in the presence of oxygen at 400 degrees Celsius, and that gives you barium peroxide. Then you can also use metal hydroxides to actually get a metal peroxide. For example, a metal hydroxide plus hydrogen peroxide gives you a metal peroxide octahydrate. And then you can remove the excess water through dehydration so that you get your metal peroxide as shown in that diagram. We have peroxy acids or para-acids. These are organic or inorganic acids, and they have an extra oxygen that is added to the standard acid group. The formula is shown, and this makes them to be very reactive and also effective oxidizing agents. And they are used in organic synthesis, bleaching, and also disinfection. So examples of peroxy acids are per-disulfuric acid, per-diphosphoric acid, and per-dicarbonic acid. We look at one example, which is per-disulfuric acid. It is also known as per-sulfuric acid or Marshall's acid. It is usually colorless and it has a melting point of 65 degrees Celsius. You'll find that the crystals are very stable when dry, and therefore this compound is used in commercial preparation of hydrogen peroxide. What are the uses? It is used as an oxidizing agent in chemical reactions. It is used in water and wastewater treatment, whereby it breaks down organic contaminants, dyes, and other contaminants. Then it removes unwanted colors from fabrics and paper fibers. And then it is used in de-inking in paper recycling. Hydrogen peroxide. This one is a versatile compound with a variety of uses due to its oxidizing and disinfectant properties. So we shall look at the uses in our discussion, and remember the formula is H2O2. Look at the methods that we can use to prepare hydrogen peroxide. Number one, you can use barium peroxide and you react it with sulfuric acid. That one will give you barium sulfate plus hydrogen peroxide. Remember, barium sulfate is used in the diagnosis of PUD, that is peptic ulcer disease, and that is barium sulfate meal. Then you can also use the MAX process, whereby this involves addition of sodium peroxide to ice cold 20% solution of sulfuric acid. And sodium peroxide plus sulfuric acid gives you sodium sulfate plus hydrogen peroxide. Looking at commercial preparation of hydrogen peroxide through electrolysis of 50% sulfuric acid solution. In electrolysis, you need to have the anodic reactions and cathodic reactions. So your sulfuric acid gives you protonated sulfuric acid, which is positively charged, and then hydrogen sulfate, which is negatively charged. Then the protonated sulfuric acid moves to the cathode, and then at the anode you have the hydrogen sulfate. So the anodic reaction gives you the per-disulfuric acid. The per-disulfuric acid formed reacts with water to give you sulfuric acid and hydrogen peroxide. To separate the two, you need to use fractional distillation under reduced pressure. For you to get concentrated hydrogen peroxide, you need to do the following. Number one, you carry out distillation under reduced pressure. And then number two, you can carry out evaporation on a water bath. And number three, you can carry out dehydration in a vacuum desiccator, where hydrogen peroxide is placed over Kong sulfuric acid in a vacuum condenser. Remember, Kong sulfuric acid is a drying agent. We have some of the incompatibilities that you can come across when you're dealing with peroxides. Number one, peroxide, when peroxides are subjected to acids and bases, the strong acids will decompose the peroxides, while the bases can cause violent reactions. Heavy metals and metal salts can also interfere with peroxides, heat and shock, and also reducing agents. Some of the precautions to be taken during storage of hydrogen peroxide include addition of a small amount of phosphoric acid, glycerol, or acetanilide. This retards decomposition. You can also use wax-line colored bottles for storage. So according to Eleanor Roosevelt, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Uses of hydrogen peroxide include as an oxidizer, as a starting material for most peroxide compounds, and also as a germicide. We look at those uses in detail. So hydrogen peroxide is used as a bleaching agent for substances of animal origin such as wool and hair, because those ones can easily be harmed by bleaching agents that contain hypochlorite ion. Hydrogen peroxide is also used to bleach pulp and paper. It is also used as a starting material for most peroxide compounds. For example, it can be reacted with borax. What you get is sodium perborate, and that one is a bleach that is used in laundry detergents. It is also used as an oral cleaning agent, but you have to make sure that you have diluted it. It can be used to whiten, deodorize, and also remove stains from clothes. Then in some countries, it is used as a preservative to extend the shelf life of raw milk, especially in areas where there is no refrigeration or the refrigeration is limited. But that one has to be done in a regulated and limited manner. Remember that overuse can impact milk quality negatively. Then hydrogen peroxide is also used as a non-specific germicide. It can be used in wound cleaning, and when applied, it releases oxygen and kills bacteria, hence cleansing the area. The pH determines how hydrogen peroxide works. So if you want to use it as a bleach, hydrogen peroxide will be effective at a slightly alkaline pH, that is pH above 7. Then hydrogen peroxide can be made more alkaline by addition of a suitable base, for example a carbonate. As an oxidizer, hydrogen peroxide is more useful again in mild alkaline media. If you want to reduce the alkalinity, then you can add an acid such as phosphoric acid. And for stability, hydrogen peroxide is more stable in a slightly acidic environment, that is around pH 4 to 5. Important points to remember that like 3% hydrogen peroxide destroys most pathogenic organisms. And then hydrogen peroxide is used in wound cleansing. So when there is a wound, that wound is usually catalase positive. So when this enzyme comes into contact with hydrogen peroxide is broken down into water and oxygen gas. And it is the evolution of this oxygen that helps in the removal of dead cells, hence promotion of wound healing. So we look at uses of miscellaneous peroxo compounds, and number one is medicinal zinc peroxide. This one is used as an antiseptic and also an antibacterial agent. It can now be used in wound healing, treatment of skin infections. So you'll find it in topical creams and ointments. You can also find it in dental pastes for oral hygiene. And also it is important in sterilization procedures. Sodium peroxide, this one can be used to treat acne. It has also been used in concentrations of 2.5 to 7% for acne soaps. In dentistry, it is used to bleach discolored teeth or disinfect dental tools. Urea peroxide is an antimicrobial agent, so it has both antibacterial and antifungal properties. Sodium perborate, that one is used because of its oxidizing and anti-infective properties. So it will be found in mouthwashes for treatment of Vincent's angina. Remember that diborate ion is poisonous and therefore excessive swallowing should be avoided. We have sample questions. Question number 1. State 4 uses of hydrogen peroxide. Question number 2. Briefly discuss peroxide incompatibilities. Question number 3. Discuss the preparation of hydrogen peroxide. Then question number 4. List 3 uses of peroxy acids. And then question number 5. List the uses of medicinal zinc peroxide. Thank you.